What's up, guys? Eddie Henry, XR Lifestyles, discussing long-term results today. What is the best way to be lean and mean for life? It is through consistency. The fittest people you know and I know, it's not the people that lift the most weights or the most hardcore. It's the people that are the most freaking consistent. The people that aren't consistent, that don't see the killer results, are pretty much, from what I'm seeing, using one of three excuses. One, they simply throw in the towel too early because they're not seeing or feeling results. Two, they're a weekend warrior, which basically means they're very good Monday through Thursday, and then they totally blow it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on their nutrition. They don't work out. And then three, they take a vacation, or they take time off, or I can't get to it today, or it's tax season, whatever it is, they take too much time off. And there's basically the fitness side of this and the nutrition side of this. I want to go through both facets of it today and explain to you how crucial it is that you stay consistent if your goal is to be optimal and lean and mean. So let's talk about fitness first. Everyone's goal, I don't care who you are, is to get leaner. What I mean by leaner, it means gaining muscle and losing body fat. So you have less body fat by the year, you get leaner and leaner by the year. When you gain muscle, you gain muscle cells. Within these muscle cells is something called the mitochondria. This is the part of the cell that burns fat. So the more muscle you gain, the more mitochondria you have, so you have higher capabilities of burning fat. And assuming you're eating the same you've always eaten, the more muscle you gain, the more your body will actually eat its own body fat. And then eventually, once you have very low body fat, when you have a splurge meal, you will literally be like a fat incinerator, and you will just torch that. And that's where I see a lot of people, jealous people that aren't consistent, say, oh, he or she can do whatever they want, they can eat whatever they want. Whatever. Those people, there's a very good chance they've been consistent. They've earned the right to splurge every now and then. But the scary part about this is, what people don't understand is, in a perfect world, assuming you're all natural and not juicing and stuff like that, you might, if everything's optimal, if you're sleeping right, if you're training effectively, if you're eating right and low stress, you might be able to gain a half a pound of muscle a month. Maybe. So you maybe can gain 5 to 6 pounds of muscle a year. Okay, here's the problem. It's very difficult for your body to maintain that muscle. If you don't effectively train, if you don't, it's kind of like the old use or lose it, that holds very true. If you don't effectively train and eat properly, you can lose up to a pound of muscle a week. Think about that for a second. If you take multiple weeks off a year, then you can effectively lose a year's worth of gains. And then what I think is a very sad thing happens. You wake up year after year and you're not seeing results. You're either the same as you've been or you've regressed a little bit. So breaks are horrible in terms of maintaining muscle. And let's talk about nutrition next. So we are comprised of hundreds of trillions of cells. It's what make us up, every part of us. And every day about a couple million of these cells regenerate. And they regenerate with the food you're actually consuming that day. So you have a chance every day to build a more optimal, healthy, younger body. And these cells are typically with you for up to 7 years. Okay, yes, if you eat perfectly for 7 years, you will have a younger body in 7 years. But what I'm getting at is, millions of cells that you go through a day, that is nothing in terms of 100 trillion cells we're made up of. That's like a granule of sand in a sandbox. It takes days and weeks and months to accumulate enough healthy cells to actually see and feel a difference. I see people all the time start a new nutritional regimen or a new supplement, and after a week they're like, whatever, didn't work for me. No, it was working for you. You didn't give it a chance to actually infiltrate your system. We are very similar to a plant. If there's an old sickly plant, it's not like you can push it out in the sun, give it pure water and pure oxygen, and the next day it's perfect. It takes months and months and months. But if you're consistent with that plant, feed it right and give it sunlight, within about 6 months, it's going to look like a beautiful, shiny, new plant. I want to give you a couple personal examples that I've experienced regarding fitness and nutrition and consistency. First Fitness, I was in Cabo last summer and freaking pulverized my knee, totally tore my MCL surfing, and I wasn't able to train legs effectively for 3 months. So during that 3-month process, I lost 7 pounds of muscle in my legs. And keep in mind, I was still working out an hour a day. I was still eating very lean. I was actually eating leaner. And I'll never forget this. I was driving down a gravel road about a month after the injury, and I felt my freaking stomach shaking, like a fat ball shaking. And it freaked me out. But the reason it was doing it wasn't because I was eating more or exercising less. It's that because I lost all this muscle. So I wasn't effectively burning fat the way I was earlier. And this is what I hear my clients say all the time, which is bad and freaks me out, but they'll take some time off of training and then they'll come in and be kind of pissed off at me and be like, okay, Eddie, I haven't trained in a month and I've lost 6 pounds. I'll take that. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, holy crap, we have worked tooth and nail to gain that muscle so you can be more effective at burning fat, and you just lost it all. You lost everything we've worked towards. Not good, guys. And then let me give you a nutrition example. I switched supplements about 1.5 years, 2 years ago to a very high grade quality supplement. And sure, I felt fine, I felt good when I started taking it, but it took me about 6 months later to really feel a difference in my body, my cells. And yes, of course, I got leaner and more muscular, but after 6 months, that's when I started noticing I was like, had to trim my fingernails twice a week instead of once. And I had to start scheduling hair appointments every 3 weeks instead of every 6 weeks. And I knew at that point that at least half of my cells were starting to change and become more optimal. So what I'm trying to say here is, if your goal is long-term health, longevity, lean and mean for life, you have to be consistent. You cannot fall into those 3 excuses. Again, the weekend warrior, the person that blows on weekend, throwing in the towel too early because I don't feel it's not working for me, Eddie. Or 3, Mr. Vacation or Mr. Time Off or Mr. Rut. You have to be consistent. You have to be consistent with your nutrition. You have to be consistent with effective workouts. This is how you'll be your best. This is how you will become one of those people that you can eat whatever you want and everyone else is saying, oh, they're genetically blessed. Whatever, you've earned it, you've been consistent. This is the best way to long-term results, guys. If you like this video, like it on Facebook, subscribe to my channel, Eddie Henry at YouTube, and as always, check out xrlifestyles.com for the latest news. Take care, guys. Be consistent.